Hello and welcome to the Community Garden on WMUC Digital College Park Radio. I'm Matt O'Brien and I'm here with my friend
Dylan Fishbein.
And we are really happy to be back in the studio presenting an incredible musical guest, Daft Punk. This first track is going to be off their 2001 Discovery album, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. Enjoy.
Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. More than power, never ever after work is over. Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour, work it never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Never over. Work it, make it better, do it faster, makes it stronger. All that effort, power, work is never over. Work it, make it better, do it faster, makes it stronger. All that effort, power, work is never over. Work it faster, makes it stronger. All that effort, power, work it never over. Work it harder, do it faster.
Hello and welcome back to the Community Garden. That song was Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger off of Daft Punk's 2001 album Discovery. Now, Daft Punk is an amazing guest this week. This French electronic music duo formed in 1993, and there are two artists named Guy Manuel de Homem Christo and Thomas Bangalter. These seminal characters of the French house movement are characterized musically by their experimental use of drum machines and synthesizers, and characterized visually by their robotic helmets and gloves. And they don't really get a lot of media attention without those that dress, which is interesting, and they also don't take a lot of interviews. The group has named an eclectic list of influences from Beach Boys co-creator Brian Wilson to Bob Marley to Aphex Twin to Supertramp to Andy Warhol. The group has been producing music since 1997, and their last album came out in 2013, which is probably their most famous album, Random Access Memories. So we're very excited to have Daft Punk in the building. We're also very excited to have Alana Caesar, our wonderful guest in the studio today. But we're going to start off with a little conversation, Matt. How was your day today?
It was pretty great, actually. I had a really good day, a beautiful day.
Oh, yeah.
But
high 70s. High 70s are top 10. It's just top 10 anything.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Well, yeah, I had a beautiful day, and unfortunately, though, it was interrupted by all what I can call a manifestation out there on the mall. It wasn't quite a protest, just a demonstration by a group under the name of Key of David Christian Center. They were out there. There was 4 members out on the mall today, 2 middle-aged men, one 17 or 18-year-old boy, and another younger boy about 12 or 13 years old, recording the entire event. And it started as a small group and demonstration, and there was quite the growth in the crowd and in the backlash that the UMD students had against these demonstrators. And I think we just saw that because they were promoting hate.
Yeah, I mean, through and through, there was hate on our campus today. And it started with these demonstrators, as you say, from the Key of David Christian Center. However, I was a little disappointed in the way the student body reacted. I think that there was a lot of hate back at them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's I was there for a good chunk of the whole thing, and just hearing some of the incredibly vulgar and demeaning things that the group were saying was getting me fired up. And yeah, I definitely felt a lot of hate towards these people. And it's kind of a shame that I let myself fall into the trap that they had set for me and all of the students here on this campus. And the exposure that they got today from our responses, exactly what the intention was.
Yeah, definitely. Was talking earlier today and came to the conclusion that in a perfect world, they would have been met with just open arms and love. Yes. And that would have stripped their platform immediately. Like if everyone just came and approached them with love and understanding, and honestly, I was disturbed mostly by the young kid that they were involving in this, who was holding up signs that were full of misogyny and homophobia. Yes. And I feel bad for this kid because this is the world that he grew up in. He grew up in a hate-filled world surrounded by this community of people who are perpetrators of hate. And I don't mean to label these people completely as this, but this is what they gave me today and what they gave our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I want to respond to 2 things that you had said there. The first being that, like you said, this little boy, this is what he knows. They referred to identities such as being gay or being transsexual as mental diseases today. And as we have a lot of people on our campus who relate with these identities, it was really sad to see, honestly. And this kid will grow up thinking that homosexuality and being transgender is a mental disease, which is a shame. And the second point I wanted to make in response to your comment was, well, now I just can't remember.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah, I will try to think.
Yeah. Well, we don't want this to ruin the show tonight. No. Absolutely. We did want to address it because it was a big part of both of our days today and a lot of the student body.
And of the College Park and Prince George's County Police Force. And this is actually the point I wanted to make.
Go for it.
That early on, before the crowd even got very large, the police were pushing back student members from these demonstrators. So the people who were treating them with open arms and wanted to talk were being pushed away by the police. This kind of reaction from the police force turned things nasty right away, creating this physical distance between us. Although I understand their motive to protect us and the demonstrators, this physical barrier that they created definitely added to the drama of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also gave it this aspect of like they were creating a stage for them.
Yeah.
Like they
yes.
were allowing this to continue. And this is where I'll stop myself and bring in like the idea of free speech, and that these people, like it hurts to say it, but they do have the right to spew this hatred.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate actually, but they do have the
Definitely.
right, and the police are tasked with the job of protecting them. My question is, where does free speech go from pushing a agenda to, which is allowed to push your agenda in public, versus just shaming people or insulting people,
And
which
inciting violence.
yeah, or exactly. For no reason, on multiple occasions, the demonstrators would pick random people from the crowd and label them as a whore, or I heard them say to one girl that she looked like a suicide victim. These things aren't constructive. They aren't pushing an agenda. They're just mean. They're just mean.
So
Yeah, that's the only response I can have.
we will continue with the show.
Yeah.
Because that's really the only thing we can do. And we can say that, like we said last week on Emily Fox's episode, it is one thing to call out the bad in our community, the negative in our community, but it is another thing to actively put good into our community. And
Right.
that's what we will try to highlight tonight.
And speaking about doing good and Emily Fox, the climate strike that which we talked about is going down this Friday. So
Be
everybody who was able to mobilize and stick around for the event today, take that energy and come out on Friday for a good cause, a positive cause.
Absolutely. And speaking of a good cause, we're going to get back to some Daft Punk, some funky music right now.
Yeah.
This next track is a 2017 single released by a band called Parcels, and this is an Australian pop funk band. And this track, which came out as a single, like I said, is called Overnight. It was produced by Daft Punk, so we'll give it a listen right here. Enjoy.
Go back, I want so bad to hold you back. It's all I've said and done. Falling, be gone. I'll stare as I want again. The reason for no more overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back, the moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back, the moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back, the moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back, the moment I was wishing it's overnight. Slow down, never. I know now, I know better. I need it more than ever. Go back under, hold that. I fall on the track. It's all I've said and done. Overnight. The minute moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight. It's overnight. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing. The minute I was thinking to hold you back. The moment I was wishing it's overnight.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Community Garden. That track was Overnight by Parcels, and that was produced by Daft Punk, and you can clearly hear the Daft Punk funky influence on that track. Definitely hit up Parcels if you're looking for more songs like that. So now we are so wonderfully blessed to have Alana Caesar in the studio. Alana, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Doing well. And so, Alana, let me just start off by saying that once again we have an incredibly involved student in our presence tonight, and I'm so grateful that you are so active in our community. So thank you. And the things that you are involved in, it is quite a freaking list.
Oh my
so
goodness.
you are the Vice President of Academic Affairs for SGA. You are the Chair of Provost Student Advisory Council. You're the Vice President of Phi Alpha Delta Pre-Law Fraternity. You're a tour guide, orientation leader, and teaching assistant for the journalism school. You're a communications consultant for Terps Vote. You're an office assistant in the Office of Civil Engineering. You're a barista at Vigilante Coffee Company. You help with the communication for the political group UMD for Warren. Next month, you'll be a literacy tutor for adults in Washington, D.C. You're a book drive organizer for the Maryland Book Bank. Alana, come on.
Dang.
This is incredible. And we would love to start off by talking about this Phi Alpha Delta pre-law fraternity. And let's start talking about it in the context of what happened today, this free speech.
Yeah, so that was something that was really interesting among my friends, some of them in my frat and others who were just like interested in law, talking about like whether it was a public forum, a limited public forum, whether they were inciting violence and if that was okay. And yeah, the case I always think of, it's actually Chaplinsky v. New Hampshire, which is like 1940s. And the court basically ruled like if you're inciting violence with your words, then like that is a limitation upon your free speech. And so I don't know how applicable that was today. That was just something that came to mind while I was watching it. And the reaction, I guess, between people of different groups and different communities was interesting. So people who are interested in law maybe had a different reaction than other people's opinions. It was just very interesting overall to me that that even happened today. But I personally, I could have probably gone better maybe in terms of some of the reactions, but I think that UMD students overall banded together against what they thought and what was bigotry and hate being brought to our campus. So I was proud of that. Did it all go super cleanly? No. But the point was they banded together against a common cause. So
For sure. So what are the kind of issues or what is the structure of the pre-law fraternity like?
So we don't focus on any partisan issues because so many people are along different partisan lines or just don't really care about politics at all.
Definitely.
And so like keep it clean cut that way. But a lot of people are interested in going to law school. And so we have like discounts on our LSAT prep and panels where professionals will come in and speak to us, or like admin advisors and admissions from different law schools. And just help people get into the mindset of like, if this is something you want to do, like these are some things you may want to do ahead of time. These are some other people you may want to get to know who are going down the same path. And a lot of people don't even want to go to law school, but they just like the group of people.
Interesting.
So
That's
why
cool.
not?
And my question was about the fact that you don't discuss partisan issues, because in my experience with law, which was just this environmental law course, the law or the judiciary branch of government is meant to be apart from partisan issues. It is meant to be non-political. So how do you feel about that? And like, do you think that's even true?
So in terms of like PAD here on campus, I think it's
What is PAD?
Phi Alpha Delta.
Oh, beautiful. Thanks.
So for us, I think it is possible in that arena because we don't really get to the point of politics. It's just like whatever you want to do, we know that you want to go into law, most of you, but we don't go like into, but who are you supporting in the 2020 election?
Got you.
So I think that's okay. I do think, though, there are certain points and certain issues that come up where it is very hard to separate identity. And that is either in like the hat of like a journalist, like a budding journalist, or someone who has a budding legal career. There are certain things where like you're going to ask me to parse something, I'm not going to be able to, or it's going to be very difficult to do. So my identity is something that's a part of who I am. And yes, I can be objective about something, but that's not going to mean that I'm okay with it just because I can like walk away from it, if that makes sense. Or if there's a ruling of something that I don't agree with, I don't necessarily have to agree with it as long as I can uphold it. But yes, it becomes very dicey when it gets to the point of like, you want me to cover what? Like there are journalists who have said and have spoken at length about, in at least the era we're in, like having to cover certain issues where they feel like they are personally at risk or personally being attacked.
Are you studying journalism?
Yeah, I'm a broadcast journalism major too.
Oh,
So,
perfect.
Yeah, I kind of want to make the two converge. I want to go into political communications. And so the goal is to like have my own firm, like part political communications, part like a law firm, and do like pro bono work for like Black and brown mothers and children.
Oh, great. It's really interesting to me what people study who want to go to law school. What would you say like the most popular major is in PAD?
Government and politics, and then it's quickly followed by like crim, which is then followed probably by econ.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
history. Like those probably
Yeah,
match
history,
up.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But like government kids take it.
For sure.
Interesting.
So this goal of yours to start your own firm, when
Yeah.
did this goal develop, and how, like, this is an incredible goal.
So I used to want to just go into law, and I know I'm interested in like First Amendment, con law, and also like working human rights type things. But then I also knew I want to go in journalism. So the political communications part is something that's really big to me, like working on campaigns and for different candidates. But also I'd want my own type of consistent work throughout, I guess, like when there's not an election I want to work on necessarily. So recently I was just like, why couldn't I just converge all that myself? So like, I don't know if it'll be possible, but I think it will be. We're like also just Black and brown children and mothers, just because I grew up with a single mother mostly. Like she got remarried, but I grew up with a single mother mostly, and that can be a very difficult situation, especially if you need like, if there is some legal work. And I was lucky enough to have a lot of family and like a mother who had like a good job, like it would pay for me and stuff. But if I didn't have that, I don't know what I would have done. So why not help other people who could end up in a situation that I didn't necessarily have to go through?
Noble as hell.
So
That's awesome. Good for you. And what does political communications really mean? Like you mentioned the idea of working on a campaign, but is this something you have studied, or do you know like
so
what
it's
about?
basically like just a broad term, at least in my opinion, of like I want to do comm work. So like press, like common press, like speeches, press releases, digital presence, like Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, but for political candidates for office.
Got you.
And
Go for it.
this time around, you are the communication advisor or
I'm
something
doing like
this?
I'm doing comm consultant for Terpsville. So that's just making sure people register to vote in general. Because no matter who you're voting for, you should be registered. But I'm also about to start helping with the UMD for Warren campaign, probably.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm supporting Warren.
Yeah.
That was
What will UMD for Warren be looking to do in this coming election?
So that's a good question. They're just getting started up, so I can't speak on that really because they haven't like really like fully formed the idea of what they want to do, but basically just be like a presence for on campus.
Well, then I suppose a better question would be, what are you looking forward to doing for UMD for Warring?
Basically like just taking. I personally like. I'm not gonna go into spiel, but I support her for very specific reasons, and so just bringing those same reasons and issues to campus, and even for students who don't necessarily support Warren, to still be like civically and politically engaged. I know everyone has a different backstory, and there are certain people who don't like being involved in politics and things. I just think, for me personally, there are too many people who fought too hard and some died for my specific right to vote, at least as a Black woman. So it would kind of be a slap in the face to like not take that up.
True.
As in to not vote?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Beautiful.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of civic engagement, one of the biggest forms of civic engagement, in my opinion, is being involved in the education system. Yeah. And our next track by Daft Punk is off of their 1997 album, which was their first album, called Homework. And we're going to jump into this track right now. It is called Da Funk. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Community Garden, everyone. That track was Da Funk off of our musical guest is Daft Punk's. It was off of their 1997 album Homework. And we are back this week with our wonderful segment, Tree and Path of the Week. This week is a beautiful week. The weather's been awesome. It was beautiful, high 70s, overcast today.
And
Definitely.
tonight, a little nip in the air.
Yeah.
And nice reminder that fall is coming.
Oh, yeah, I love that. So we're going to start you off in Taws Plaza on top of the hill behind McKeldin Mall. And you can definitely spend as much time here as you want. Taws Plaza is beautiful, a ton of benches, great fountain, and also the arena for tomorrow's farmers market.
Right? 11 to 3.
11 to 3, get there. So you're going to start at Taws Plaza, and then you're going to just look at the back of McKeldin Library. The back of McKeldin Library is a huge face of brick. In my opinion, there should be a mural there.
Oh, wow, Dylan. What an incredible idea. No, really, because there's an incredible field there for picnics and enjoyment. And just imagine looking at a beautiful piece of art instead of a big brick wall.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we'll get that going. Okay, so you're going to look at McKeldin Library and take that path that goes towards the left, and then you're going to enter the mall, the McKeldin Mall, and hug the left side there as you're walking towards the administration building. And you'll see H.J. Patterson, the building on your left. And right as you pass H.J. Patterson, there will be this diagonal path that'll look out right over onto the new ESJ building, which is it's a piece of art.
It's pretty incredible. Whether you're a fan or not of modern architecture,
Definitely.
it's undeniable the incredible face value it has.
For sure. And so in between H.J. Patterson and ESJ, there is a 49-foot tall black walnut tree, and this tree is beautiful. And interestingly, which is why it's our tree of the week, it has no leaves on it. And I don't know why.
A sign of fall?
It is either a sign of fall or it's dead,
Wow.
because it has not had leaves for weeks. And no other tree on campus. I mean, the trees are just starting to turn, like the edges of the leaves are just starting to brown a little bit, but by no means is any tree bare. So I do think that there's a possibility that this is a dead tree.
Well, it's definitely possible. And I was having a conversation with a friend just the other day about how pathogens are coming and destroying the bananas, that which we know and love, and that in the future we will not have bananas as we know them. And it's just an interesting idea to think that, these pieces of vegetation that we're also familiar with, the trees that we see around campus, if a pathogen comes along and wipes out trees, it can be replaced by new species that we're unfamiliar with. Pretty incredible.
Absolutely. So going off of that, Alana,
Yes.
you work in the Office of Civil Engineering.
I do.
And this is interesting because we're talking about beautiful buildings. And although civil engineering is not totally focused on that, it is engineering, which is why I transitioned. So tell me about how you got involved with the Office of Civil Engineering and what goes on there, because I know nothing about it.
So that's an interesting one. Freshman year, I was America Reads, America Counts. So I was a literacy tutor for second and third graders and first graders the first semester of college. But then the second semester, I was like, I need something a little more focused on campus where I can work. And I just saw it on like a job posting. And I do nothing with engineering. I know nothing about engineering. But I just went in, and my boss is really cool, and he was just like, yeah, okay, you're hired. And I've been there since freshman year. And they're very chill. They're like super focused. My boss is super into biking and like has a fitness workout group with his students some other like professors and advisors in the department. So they'll work out like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays together.
Oh, that's incredible.
You ever join?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he also there's three of them. I have three bosses. And yeah, they just like the office is super chill. They always have like live feeds up on the TV of like random places in Wyoming or like Yellowstone, like rivers and stuff, just like for students to kind of escape. And there's a hammock.
Love it.
They have ramen for all the students. It's a very peaceful place.
Wow.
Yeah, they can't
not
get rid
what
of
I would
me.
expect.
No.
Yeah,
That's
very
awesome.
different than the other offices in the building.
What kind of exercises have you joined in with your boss?
So they'll do stairs, and so they do like the stairs at Xfinity.
Yeah, I
Mm.
imagine.
And then when you get to the bottom, yeah, they'll do like a core set. So like, oh, do your abs or do like squats or something, and then back to the stairs.
That's a badass
Nice.
workout.
Repeat. Yeah,
Very nice.
Love it.
it's a lot.
Well, other on-campus things that you were involved in, being a tour guide and orientation leader, how did you come into this, and are you enjoying it?
Yeah, so that I lucked out because I don't have to do the whole campus. So I'm a journalism school tour guide. So
Oh,
I
great.
basically like when new students come in, started helping out last semester, and it's basically just like, oh, we need a couple people for a panel, and so I just tell them about like my internship experiences that I've had and like how they relate to journalism, how I like them, and then we go around the school. I'm like, great, this is sports journalism area with kids like the Shirley Povich Center, and then there's the Howard Center for Investigative and like different places like that. So it's nice because I can always do like a panel and talk to incoming students and then show them around the building.
Would you say that most of the students in the journalism school are direct admins come in for journalism, or do you find a lot of people find themselves in the journalism school after a few semesters here at UMD?
I think a lot are direct, but there are a good amount. Like, I didn't start with journalism. I started with just government, and then I added it. So there are people who are like me too, or change or transition, like added in, but a lot of them start with journalism.
So additionally to studying journalism, you study government.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I did not know that.
That is badass. That's very cool. Okay, so I had a question about your work at Vigilante Coffee Company.
Oh, hit me.
First of all, shout out our coworker, Andy Doyle. It is her birthday today.
I love Andy.
Happy birthday, Andy.
Happy birthday, Andy. So, this being the community garden, I find a lot of community in working at Vigilante. And you just started not too long ago, right?
Yeah, the summer.
This summer. So, how has your experience been in terms of the community that you've felt there?
I like working at Vig a lot. The whole reason, my mom was basically like, you need to slow down some. Like, I'm used to doing like internship to internship, like, and it's like usually like high intensity. And it was nice to be like, oh, here's a job where I don't have to dress up. And I don't have to look a certain way. Like, I can come in and then all the people are my age, basically. And so I really like that in a sense, it's a community in that sense, too. Where, like, these people are all going through the same things as me right now. Like, most of them are students. Everyone's very chill. I don't know, I guess there are a lot of people who say Vig, like, employees, like, we have, like, an air or an aura. I don't get that.
What do you mean?
Like, they're like, oh, you guys are too cool for us or something.
Oh,
that,
right.
I don't get that, but I guess
As
it's a
the only
compliment.
non-Vig employee in the room, I will speak to this and say that I don't believe it's true.
Thank you.
Well, we're not cool, Matt.
No, you guys are plenty cool, but there's not a elite feeling among the Vigilante staff. If
Yeah.
anything, I have found the Vigilante staff to be incredibly friendly and
I think-
easy to talk to.
I think that's the point, though. A lot of people, they don't think, like, I don't think they think we're as elite as, like, oh, you can't talk to us. But, like, oh, y'all are just so, like, indie or too cool. And I'm like,
yeah,
no. Like, even when I got the job, my roommate was like, oh, that's pretty boho. That fits you. I was like, I don't know what that means.
Pretty what? Yeah, I was gonna
Right.
ask.
But that's, like,
Wait,
how
what
people
does
would view it.
boho
Like,
mean?
bohemian. And, like, she's like, oh, that's pretty, like,
Ah.
hippie, chill. Like, that's cool. Like, that'll fit for you. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but okay. But I just really like working at Vig. Everyone's very kind. A lot of the people are, like, at the same point in life in me. And it's,
Yeah.
like,
Well, I will
chill.
concur
I
that.
learned a lot about music that I did not. I thought I already had a
Oh,
super
nice,
wide
yeah.
music. Like, I thought my range was already super wide. And then there's certain people. I'll never forget. Who is it? Flatbush Zombies? Is it you or Ethan
Yeah.
or someone? I was like, what? Or Austin? And I was like, just every day it's something new.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that I will concur that all the employees at Vigilante are very hip. And for that reason, whenever you walk in there, the music is incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. But I would totally agree that my music selection has widened amazingly from
lot.
working there. I remember our first shift working together was a closing shift,
It
and we
was.
bumped a lot of Erykah Badu.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. You turned it on and I was like, whose playlist is this? The only person I could think of was like, so did Robbie leave this playlist? Like, that's the only other person. And he was like, no, it's mine. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
let's.
yeah, speaking about some music, let's jump into a track. This next track is going to be off of Daft Punk's 2013 album, Random access memory. And this is going to feature Julian Casablancas, which it happens to be the lead singer of The Strokes. Go ahead and enjoy this tune, Instant Crush.
I didn't wanna be the one to forget.
Welcome back to the Community Garden, everyone. That track was Instant Crush, which features the lead singer of The Strokes, Julian Casablancas, off of Daft Punk's 2013 album, Random Access Memories. So we're back here with Alana in the studio. And Alana, one of the things we want to touch on before we get out of here at 11 is your role as the Vice President of Academic Affairs for the Student Government Association. Yeah. So what is the Academic Affairs section of Student Government Association?
So I basically deal with all academic types of legislation and offices and issues on campus related to it. So colleges, different initiatives they're trying to put through in terms of if we're adding a major, I would go talk to someone about that. Or academic achievement program, which is when they bring in students who may not have gotten in otherwise, underprivileged maybe, or their schools weren't visited, etc. Things like that. So I work in those areas, and so it fits for me, I guess. I'm really into academics, and academia should be for everyone. It shouldn't be should be right.
So what is the Academic Affairs section of SGA doing to ensure that people have access to education?
So this year, some big things that I personally want to work on are consolidation of technical resources, because a lot of the resources I think are available to us. For example, Premiere, Adobe, for example. A lot of people don't know that that's free to them as students, and that runs the gamut. I think resources in general that students aren't aware of when they come into school. And then so as years go on, there are certain things I didn't realize I had to junior year. And so if I'm paying for that through my student fees, I should know it's available to me and possibly open up other passions and talents that I didn't know I had. Huh. And then also retention of minority students, because I think we do a really good job with recruiting, but it's different keeping. And a lot of minority students do come from a lower socioeconomic status and a bracket, and I think that is something we need to take into account.
So what goes into retaining students of minority background?
So I think a lot of it has to do with financial, the bulk of it, honestly. It has to do with making sure there are enough financial resources and attention given to the students and opportunities.
Attention,
majority.
Academic attention?
Not just academic attention, but making sure that you have the financial resources that are needed to finish your degree here in Maryland. I think the majority is financial.
For sure.
And just looping back, how would or what would you say are some of the better ways that we can, promote or make aware to the students that they have these programs and stuff like Adobe, like you were talking about?
So my big thing I work on is consolidation of all those onto a website. They're already consolidated, but it's when it's nebulous and deep down.
For sure.
Yeah, turfware.
It's hard for students to find it. So making it more accessible, maybe on the Elms page, and just or obviously orientation materials, but students already get so much at orientation.
There's a lot of
that
info,
it would be you're already inundated. It's not necessary to use something else. So making it in a more obvious and easily accessible location for students is my goal.
Definitely. I think that as students, like you said, not just at orientation, but always we're just inundated with so much information. Yeah. And I think that it's definitely a big responsibility to communicate this information in a way that is easily processed. Yes. And so I hope that you're able to do that well, and I'm sure you will. So. Yeah. So are you present for the large SGA body meetings?
Present for the GBMs, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so how do those usually go?
The GBMs go well. Just our chance to update each other on what we're doing respectively and our different roles, and keep everyone in the loop, offer other people opportunities to get in on something you may not be on my committee, but if you're interested in working on this, this is something I'm working on. How
often do you get students who are not in SGA who come to these meetings and also come to these meetings to promote their own ideas?
So far I haven't seen it happen, but I know it has.
How long have you had this role?
So I started this year.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
so I didn't do SJ at all before.
Gotcha.
And so as far as I've been in, I haven't seen it. But yes, it does happen, especially for big things that are happening, big bills that are coming or something. Then, people will come.
I know that the BDS bill is always a very packed house.
Very contentious.
Yeah, definitely. For those who don't know, BDS stands for Boycott, Divest, and Sanction, which is a large movement that has to deal with the state of Israel and its contentious doings. So we will not get into that.
I would say, to say the least. Continue.
Yeah, well, it was a good summary.
Well, what do you look forward to other than this project for the SGA in general?
You mean like me, like as a individual,
Yeah,
or
as a regular student, like what can we look forward to? And well, as a regular student and as a member of SGA.
For me, I don't know, how do I word this? Look forward to in terms of like what I look forward to. Or
Yeah, sure.
this
Sure.
year?
I mean, what kind of thing have you seen coming from SJ? You're just like, wow, I want to see that be done.
I'm biased because I'm gonna say my stuff, everything, but I especially want to make sure that like, those issues are addressed. But overall, just like community bridging. That like people. One thing I'm interested in is making sure that like dialogue, quote unquote, across the aisle happens before people can like drift off into their own silos on campus. So like if you are interested, like after freshman year, you find your niche or
Right,
whatever, and
yeah.
you kind of settle there. So making sure that like we learn how to interact with people of different backgrounds and cultures before we kind of settle into those, because that's what life will be for us. Like you will have to interact with people from different communities, spanning the gamut, religious, sexual, like everything. And so that should be.
Well, I'm very excited to see some new initiatives come from SGA to promote that diversity and that dialogue.
And unity. And
Yes.
community.
Unity,
On
community.
a roll.
Well said. Alana, we want to thank you one more time for being on the Community Garden. It's been a great night, and we really appreciate you doing such great work in the community and coming here to share it with Dylan and I and our listeners. We also want to thank Daft Punk for providing the soundtrack for this awesome conversation.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Daft Punk. It's been great listening to your music, and I really like it. Again, you guys are listening to The Community Garden here on WMUC Digital College Park Radio. We will be back next Tuesday and every Tuesday after that until the end of the semester from 10 to 11. You guys can enjoy this 2013 track off of Daft Punk's Random Access Memories album. This track is called Fragments of Time. This is good night from us.
Driving this road down to paradise, letting the sunlight into my eyes. Our only plan is to improvise, and it's crystal clear that I don't ever want it to end. If I had my way, I would never leave. Keep building these random memories, turning our days into melodies. But since I can't stay, I'll just keep laying back these fragments of time. Everywhere I go, these moments will shine. I'll just keep laying back these fragments of time. Everywhere I go, these moments will shine. Familiar faces I've never seen, living the gold and the silver dream, making me feel like I'm 17. And it's crystal clear that I don't ever want it to end. If I had my way, I would never leave.